Alright, hello everyone. Welcome to a short little video on how to basically open and create a file and read from it. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Get started on a new empty project. Go ahead and name it. Read from file. Alright, start with a blank project. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to add a new item here. We'll add a new CPP file. Just going to name it main. Alright, so files are pretty great for dealing with a lot of data, dealing especially with maybe changing data, or data that may change. Okay, now we've got our project and our main CPP file. We're going to go ahead and the way I like to get started with my programs are always starting with main, returning, and we are all set. Now we're going to get started with dealing with the functions. So when you're dealing, files, not functions. So when you're dealing with files, you're going to need to include something, and that include is going to be include f stream. I think it's called the file stream. And so now we have the f stream. What we can actually do is go ahead and include the if stream. Sorry, my cursor. If stream, and this kind of acts like a variable, and so I'm going to name it input file. And this basically creates a input file stream variable. And now that we have this, we're going to be able to go ahead and use this guy. So it's kind of just like a file, we can go ahead and use it, and we're going to use this function called open. And if you guessed it, this is going to be able to open a file. And so now the way I always like to deal with files, to always make sure it works, minimize any errors, anything like that, is I'm going to go over to project here, we're going to add a new item, and instead of adding like a CPP file, like C++ file, we're going to go over to utility here, and select a text file, because for this program at least, we're going to be dealing with a text file. So I'm going to name this file read file.text, and we're going to go ahead and add. And boom, as you can see, it opened up a new file. You can see it over here in the Solution Explorer. So we have our main, and now we have this file called read. I'm going to go ahead and drag that guy out, and you can kind of put this guy anywhere. I'm going to put this guy just on the right side right here, just so I can be able to edit that. And so now this open function is looking for a string parameter, which is basically the file name, like the whole file name. So we have readfile.text. We're putting readfile.text in there. It's always good practice to go ahead and make sure you close your file. You always want to close it, but I always go ahead and do that first at near the end. So minimize any errors or anything like that. And so now we have basically created a file, and so now we're going to be able to start dealing with data from this file. So first off, I'm going to just do something simple, and let's type in, hello world, spell it right. And there's a reason I put that space there. But so now, to take the data from the file, we're going to need a variable to store it in. And so I'm going to make a string and name it just input. Alright, and so you can see we have hello world is in our file, and so what we can go ahead and do is input file, right? So this is going to be our file handler, I guess you can kind of think of. And we're going to go ahead and put these two carrots, sideways carrots, I always forget what to call them. And we're going to go ahead and put that guy into our new input string variable. Is it the other way? No. Why is this not working? No operator matches the operands. Okay, and so now that we have created our string variable, another good practice to always do is make sure your file actually opens correctly and make sure it opens the correct file. So I always like to just throw it in this basic little if statement, and we basically just do if input file, and this, checks to make sure we have opened our file correctly. Else, error, opening this file. Deal with. So if we have an error trying to open this file, I'm just going to go ahead and return. So that way a program doesn't crash. Just for this basic thing, it's just going to go ahead and return if this file, if we are unable to open this file. So now we have successfully opened our file in this if statement here. Now we are going to be able to use our, I should really type it out instead of doing that. So now we can go ahead and do input file, put our two little carets into our new variable we have made, input. Why is it giving me this error? Okay, dude, I don't know why this is working. Can you not put it into a string? Dang it, I did not know that. Okay, so I actually made a small mistake. I tried to put it in a string, basically a string variable. I haven't honestly dealt with putting into strings too much. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is put this into different variables. So sorry about that. I went ahead and rewrote this and separated basically each letter by a space. And now we're going to go ahead and write to each of those variables. Alright. So I'm going to put some breakpoints in. And so we see we have hello world in the file. And so now I'm going to go ahead and run this. And so we see we have three variables down here, input 1, input 2, input 3, and this is what is in our file. And so when we go ahead and are reading this through the file, right, input 1 has taken the first character. So we have three char variables, input 1, 2, 3. Input 1 has taken this first char of just h. And so the way reading files works, this specifically with this way, using the right arrows, is it takes data up until a space. And so that is why I separated all by a space. So when we go through these two guys, we're basically taking each character that is separated a space, so HEL. And this is the basics of opening a file or adding a text file into your project and reading some basic information from the file. Thanks for watching.